Namaste Vasudeva. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiv Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiri Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 28, Jnana Yoga, text number 37 onwards. Yannama kritibhir grayam panchavarnam abhaditam vyarthena piyarthavadoyam dvayam panditamanina. The duality of the five material elements is perceived only in terms of names and forms. Those who say this duality is real are pseudo-scholars, vainly proposing fanciful theories without basis in fact. And these kind of pseudo-scholars are all everywhere. Nobody talks about the soul. Just these five material elements and three subtle elements. That's it. And they just talk all about it, worried only about it, nothing else. Material names and forms, subject as they are to creation and annihilation, have no permanent existence and so do not constitute essential, fundamental principles of reality. The material world consists of variegated transformations of the potency of God. Although God is real and his potency is real, the particular forms and names that temporarily or circumstantially appear have no ultimate reality. Gross ignorance occurs when the conditioned soul imagines himself to be material or a mixture of matter and spirit. When the conditioned soul imagines himself to be material or a mixture of matter and spirit. We are not a mixture of matter. We are spiritual beings covered by material body because of our desires, and now we got to use this body in service of the Lord. That's all. Some philosophers argue that the eternal soul in contact with matter is permanently transformed, and the false ego represents a new and permanent reality of the soul. But that's not true. Srila Jiva Goswami replies that spirit is the living, superior energy of the Lord, whereas matter is inferior, unconscious energy. Somebody got okay. Where matter is an inferior, unconscious energy of the Lord, and these two energies thus possess opposite qualities, as with light and darkness. The superior living entity and inferior matter, therefore, cannot possibly merge into a common existence, since they eternally possess opposite and incompatible characteristics. The hallucination of a mixture of matter and spirit is called illusion. It becomes specifically manifest as false ego, which identifies with a specific material body or mind created by illusion. Clearly, those scientists or philosophers who are embedded in gross ignorance cannot be real scientists and philosophers. The simple creation of spiritual self-awareness, unfortunately, eliminates a huge percentage of modern so-called scientists and philosophers who bury their foolish noses in Lord's material energy without any knowledge of or interest in the Lord himself. But this is what is going on all over. Not just the scientists and philosophers, they give the philosophy, but rest the whole population, the whole world, that this is what everybody is worried about. Body, 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 body. How to give comfort to this body. And for that, ready to go to any extremes, without worrying about karmic reactions, without worrying about anything else. Just by hook or crook, I should make money and give comfort to the body and do everything that can give me pleasure. That is Maya. Yogino apakva yogasya yunjata kaya uttita upsargar vihanyeta tatrayam vikto vidhi. The physical body of the endeavoring yogi who's not yet mature in his practice may sometimes be overcome by various disturbances. Therefore, the following process is recommended. Of course, I mean, body is going to get disease. Having described the process of cultivating knowledge, the Lord now gives instructions to the yogi whose body may be disturbed by disease or other impediments. Those inferior yogis who are attached to the body and bodily exercises are often incomplete in their realization. And thus the Lord here offers them some assistance. Yoga dharanya kanshit asanar dharananvita tapo mantroshadha kanshit upasargan vinirdihet. Some of these obstructions may be counteracted by yogic meditation or sitting postures. Practiced together with concentration on controlled breathing, and others may be counteracted by special austerities, mantras, or medicinal herbs. Kashin mamanu dhyanena nama sankirtanadibhi yogeshwaranu vrityava anyad ashvadan shaneh. These inauspicious disturbances can be gradually removed by constant remembrance of me, by congregational hearing and chanting of my holy names, or by following in the footsteps of the great masters of yoga. See, these inauspicious disturbances can be gradually removed by constant remembrance of me. Krishna is saying, or by congregational hearing and chanting of my holy names. Nama Sankirtanadivi. So powerful, Nam Sankirtan. Of course, once in Bengal, there was this outbreak of cholera. So, of course, everybody was just like we had coronavirus. So that time, Gaudiya devotees, what they did, they took out Harinam Sankirtan, and they would take out every day Harinam Sankirtan for many, many hours throughout Kolkata. And cholera subsided. But Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj said, this is not what we chant Harinam for. We don't chant Harinam to get rid of cholera or other disturbances. Harinam gives us Krishna Prem. That's what we chant it for. Of course, it's a side effect that it removes the diseases. It can or it won't. It's up to Harinam. But here it says, by congregational hearing and chanting of my holy names, inauspicious disturbances can be gradually removed. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, by meditation on the Supreme Lord, one can overcome lust and other mental disturbances. And by following in the footsteps of great transcendentalists, one can overcome hypocrisy, false pride, and other types of mental imbalance. So Harinam, everything is in Harinam. Krishna says, all my energies, the Harinam is I have invested all my energies in this holy names. All we have to do is chant them properly, chant them lovingly. Kechit deham imam dhira sukalpam vayasi sthiram vidhaya vividhopaya at yunjanti siddhaye. By various methods, some yogis free the body from disease and old age and keep it perpetually youthful. Thus, they engage in yoga for the purpose of achieving material mystic perfections. The process described here is meant to fulfill one's material desires, not to bring one transcendental knowledge. Therefore, this process cannot be accepted as devotional service to the Lord, according to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Despite all such mystic perfections, the material body will ultimately die. Actual eternal youth and happiness are available only on the spiritual platform of Krishna consciousness. So that should be our goal, not anything else. Nahi tat kushladrityam tadayaso hi partaka antvattavachirgidasya palasyeva vanaspate. This mystic bodily perfection is not valued very highly by those expert in transcendental knowledge. Indeed, they consider endeavor for such perfection useless, since the soul, like a tree, is permanent, but the body, like a tree's fruit, is subject to destruction. The example given here is of a tree that seasonally bears fruit. The fruit exists for a very short time, whereas a tree may exist for thousands of years. Similarly, the spirit soul is eternal, whereas the material body, even when preserved as long as possible, is destroyed relatively quickly. The body should never be equated with the eternally existing spirit soul. Those who are actually intelligent, who actually have spiritual knowledge, are not interested in material mystic perfections. But some yogis go for it. Yogam nishevato nityam kayaschet kalpatam yat tachradhyana matimana yogam usrijya matvaraha. Although the physical body may be improved by various processes of yoga, an intelligent person who has dedicated his life to me does not place his faith in the prospect of perfecting his physical body through yoga, and in fact, he gives up such procedures. So a devotee of the Lord keeps his body fit by eating nourishing Krishna Prasada, by maintaining a clean and regulated life free from unnecessary anxiety, and by chanting and dancing before the deity of the Lord. When a devotee is sick, he accepts medical treatment by normal methods. But beyond this, there is no need to absorb one's mind in the physical body in the name of so-called yoga practice. Ultimately, one must accept the destiny that has been ordained by the Lord. Of course, we have to do whatever we can in a regulated way to keep this body fit, so that this body obviously is a vehicle by which we can serve the Lord. So, if we have to take the medicine, take the medicine. If we have to get some procedure done, we should. Not thinking that, oh, I'm chanting and I'll be okay. Yeah. Do we have that kind of faith in chanting, first of all? So whatever medical treatment one has to go through, yes. But at the same time, understanding we are not this body, and just keeping up or keeping this body fit is not the goal of life. The goal of life is to attain love for Krishna. Yogacharyam imam yogi vicharan mad pashraya nantarayar vihanyeta nispriya svasukhanubhu. The yogi who has taken shelter of me remains free from hankering because he experiences the happiness of the soul within. Thus, while executing this process of yoga, he is never defeated by obstacles. According to Srila Swami, the Supreme Lord has briefly described to Uddhava the essential wisdom of all the Upanishads, with the conclusion that pure devotion service to the Lord is a real means of ultimate liberation.